Hi, Steve. Welcome to NEXWEB podcast.
Thank you, Srishti. Thank you for having me here.
Steve, can you share your background? When and why did you migrate to USA?
Well, I have been teaching entomology subject in Institute of Agriculture and Animal Sciences in Tribhuwan University in Nepal, and I was there with master's degree as a lecturer there. And so it was high time that I would lift my master's degree to PhD, and that is why, in order to get my higher degree, I was thinking of doing abroad. And so if I had to choose abroad, then why not to choose USA? Because it is one of the finest country with finest education system here in USA.
Why only in USA? Like there are lots of countries that provides PhD in entomology. Even I live in Australia, and here is like higher scope. Like why didn't you think of other countries?
Well, I have been always thinking about doing my PhD in abroad, but not in Nepal. And that's why while choosing for abroad, I was targeting to many countries like Australia, USA, and even European countries. And even I got selected from few of the other countries as well. But again, I was in dilemma which to choose. And while choosing, I got reviews from many of my seniors and many of the professionals that USA has one of the finest education system, and as well it has many opportunities for the student here. After you get opportunity to study PhD degree, you get involved here as graduate research assistant. You get this stipend. That means you get paid for your living allowances and many other your personal expenses as well. And for that, you can get good degree here in in the USA. And moreover, after you get engaged in PhD in USA, you will have various sector to study about the research. And while doing PhD in USA, you can involve in like conferences and then many workshops that university will provide for you with the facilities. And even after your education is completed and you get back to your job in your own country, then it will provide feasibility with the many projects that you can lead in your country as well. And that is why I choose PhD for USA.
Wow, like you studied bachelor in agriculture.
Yeah, I did my bachelor and masters in agriculture, and specifically masters in entomology, agricultural
Wow.
entomology in Tribhuwan University in Nepal.
Wow, like in bachelor, like you only studied about the agriculture. There was no specific subject to choose, like in which subject you need to go, or you have to study overall at that time.
Yes, Srishti, while I was doing my undergrads in my time period, we didn't have like specific research-oriented subjects in the bachelor's. But right now, at today's condition, you can do research in which subject you want to do, even in the undergrads. But in my case, in my time period, we had to just choose certain subjects, and I choose entomology subject even in the bachelor. And then after I continued doing things in entomology, right from undergrad to masters and now to PhD.
Steve, while counting your bachelor degree and master degree, like beside your theoretical knowledge, have you done any practical or volunteer or job experience? How long you have been working as an entomologist?
Yeah, talking about my professional life, directly from undergrad, I joined straight to masters, and after a masters, I went to do job in projects. It was like USAID funded projects, and it was IPM that elaborates as integrated pest management, which also very much relates to entomology subject. And that is how my interest in entomology grew more larger and bigger. And after masters, after I did my work or professional work in projects, then I went to university to teach as a lecturer.
During a professional career, like have you done any research about some insect, and is there any joyful moment that you can share during a research period?
Yeah, thank you for asking me this question, Srishti. Yeah, my profession as a lecturer, it mainly counts with doing many kinds of research related to insects, as I am engaged as a lecturer in entomology subject. So apart from making research to students, always I always went for doing many self-funded, many research funded projects as well. And on finding my funding projects, I went for both in Nepal and international projects funding organization. In Nepal, I got a research fund from NAS, that is Nepal Academy of Science and Technology, that funded me for the study of integrating insects as a sustainable source of animal feed. And even the next organization is University Grant Commission, and that funded for me working on ladybird beetle, is the potential to act as predator against aphids. And talking about the international organization, I got funded from International Foundation of Sciences, which is Sweden-based organization, and that funded me to work again on ladybird beetles, different species of ladybird beetles that works against different species of aphids, especially in case of feeding, fertility, and fecundity potential.
You have lots of experience in researching about insect, and I believe that there are lots of funny things like the people don't know, because most of the people are not involved in that career, and they don't care about what insects do, or what insects looks like, and what's their lifestyle like. Can you share some facts that many people don't know about insects?
Well, yeah, there are like uncountable facts of insects. If you just go on telling, then this session may be like not enough to even say about the facts. But here are certain few facts that I would love to tell, and most people can feel joyful to even hear them. Like there are insects are also taken as source of spores in many countries. Like even in our neighboring countries like China, there is cricket championship. It's not about the sport cricket, but it's about the insect cricket. They make fight to two different kinds of cricket there, and they make gamble to these two kinds of crickets, like human fighting, like boxing. They make fight to these two kinds of crickets, and they bet upon these two kinds of cricket, and that's how the sport of cricket championship goes. And similar kind of sports also happens in Japan, where they make fight to like two kinds of stag beetles, and that is how people take entertain with fighting of insects there. And moreover, there are many other interesting facts. Like I would like to talk about one of my favorite insects, that is ladybird beetle. I would love to say that this insect, this particular ladybird beetle, is very dramatic. And when it comes to when it feels like something dangerous coming in near of it, then it act as like as if it is dead. This kind of behavior of these types of insects, there is a certain term that is also called as thanatosis. And when they act as dead, and then their predator, they leave them, and they just go away far from them, and they just get saved by their special behavior. And such kinds of behavior also happens to other kinds of insects, like in mustache of fly. And even there are more other facts, like the word that have been frequently used in with us, like honeymoon.
Yeah.
The word it the word honeymoon, it also came from the insects. In medieval period, like when the couple, they got newly married, then they were fed with honey wine for whole 1 month. And
Mhm.
that is how you know this honeymoon came from. And there are other many facts, like insects, they have three kinds of eyes. We have like two eyes. Human, they have two eyes. Similar to that, insects, they have three kind of eyes, and that is named as compound eyes, simple eyes, and lateral eyes as well. But the eyes that only used for vision is the compound eyes. you know but and with these compound eyes, they have many other smaller eyes inside these compound eyes. They are called as ommatidia that is used for the vision. And also there are more other things. These insects have been like in this world for more years than human. They are senior to us. They have been like 350 million years back from in this world, and we human have been like just 300,000 million years back in this world. So we should count these insects as senior to us.
And I want to ask you, Siv, like how long it takes for insects to be trained for the sport activities? Because you want some insects to win the game, isn't it?
Particularly talking about the time that may take depending upon different types of species. But if you just start to train them about 5 to 6 months, then they can like start acting about they are playing certain games. So more training means more they are perfect. So you go on training, then they give more joyful to you to watch
Like
these
how
games.
important is it to conserve insect to save the planet? And what's your role to save the insect?
Well, Srishti, like it's very important part to save any living beings. I would say not only insects, but every living beings on this earth have like a prominent role in the part of the ecosystem. So I would say every living being should be saved, and because they have their role in the ecosystem. And coming specifically to insects, they have many other vital roles, because we know that when we hear about the insects, we generally feel that these insects are notorious and they are of no good use. But the fact is, like 95% of the insects are beneficial, and just 5% of them are not beneficial or harmful, we can say. And so with that facts and figures, we can say that these most of the insects are very useful. And more specifically talking about their uh, beneficial part, we can say that these insects are very good for pollination part. They play major role in this pollination. Like out of total pollination activity, 80% of the total pollination activities are done by these insects. And because of these, we should save them, in order to make production more and ecosystem viable. We have to save these insects.
Well, like in
Yeah.
this modern world, like people use harmful chemicals inside their house and outside the house to protect themselves from insects. But what sort of general things should the people do to conserve insects? Simple tips.
When we talk about just insects, then like it's kind of a bit vague term to just protect insects. Means we just have to go specifically whether it has to be in particular crops or whether they are medical insects, you know. So depending upon different types of fields, we have different protection measures in order. Apart from treating them with these chemicals, there is a method which tells not to use or to use very less chemicals, that comes with the term integrated pest management, where we more of the time focus to non-chemical methods. And so in this case, we majorly utilize the things that are not focusing on chemicals. So that may be more of like locally used methods or any other methods that use less chemicals. So if you talk about controlling mosquitoes in our homely environment, then we say that don't use these chemicals or these pesticides, but use nets while sleeping. Net.
Yeah.
So if you use net while sleeping, then you get protected from these mosquitoes. So that's how you get protected without using chemicals. So similar is in the case of agriculture as well, agricultural field as well.
Steve, I have heard that insects are used to investigate the crime. Like, is it true?
Definitely. Yeah, insects, I already have said that there are 95% of insects, they have, they are beneficial. And so this foreign, the term that you used for using insects in crime, we generally say like it for forensic entomology, and more specifically it is termed as medico-legal forensic entomology. You know,
Okay.
when it is assumed the fact that when certain people die, then insects they attack first to those dead body.
Okay.
So how that so because of that feature, we can assume that how long the death have been there. You know, I would like to clarify it with the example. There are insects like scorpion flies and blowflies, yeah, and more of the beetles like carrion beetles. You know, if these scorpion flies are happen to be around these dead bodies, then we can assume that this is the phrase death body, because scorpion flies they only remain for about half or a single day in the dead body, and that's how we can assume the time period of that dead body. And similarly, there is another insect like blowfly, which can smell the death of a body from even 16 kilometer far away. You know, and after it gets those instinct or those smells from the dead body, then they attack to these dead bodies. You know, and even these blowflies, when they happen to come to this dead body, then they search the liquid portion of these dead bodies. So if these dead bodies have wound or blood coming out, then they directly go and attack to those wounded portion. And this helps to assume that, you know, where from the insect is attacking it in which place, and that wounded portion, how it has been in that dead body. So when that blowfly attack to that dead body, then it about 2 to 3 hours after it gets attached to that dead body, it starts to lay eggs. And after about 4 to 5 hours, then first instar of larva comes out. So when you see that there is egg, means it the body has the dead body has been just 2 to 3 hours fresh. And when you see the larva, means it is just 4 to 5 hours fresh. So in that condition, it helps to know how fresh is the dead body. And similarly, some, you know, some insects they happen to be in different locations, some in different location. Like I talked about the scorpion flies, they happen to be mostly in the damp area. So if you see these scorpion flies in this dead body, then you can assume that the dead body was near to the damp area. So in this way, that kind of insect occurrences in this dead body help to identify or resolve these crime scenes as well. Yeah, that is one of the good fact of insects, beneficial facts.
Wow, there are lots of interesting facts. I think I need to like gain lots of information about insects, and it's very interesting to learn too. Yeah. Siv, what's the average lifespan of insect? Like average?
It's a bit, I would say a bit vague question. Like, if you talk about, there are different kinds of insects. If you talk about the shortest lifespan, then it's just about 5 to 7 days of flies, you know, mostly house flies. And if you talk about the uh, longest lifespan, then mostly it would be of cerambycid beetles. Then that would be like about 5 to 7 years even. So it can vary about from I mean even 7 to 10 days to even 3 to 5 years as well. So that can be the range, I would say.
Oh, Siv, where do you see yourself after 5 years after you complete your PhD?
Well, thank you for asking me this question, Srishti. And since I have been doing my PhD and I'm in study leave from Nepal right now, so I would count myself as Dr. Shiva Shankar Bhattarai PhD after 5 years. And even after that, I would most probably be going back to my old job, where I came for study leave. I'll be joining there, and probably I would get promoted there. And moreover, I will be building more connection to international scientific community from workshops and these scientific conferences as well. And moreover, I would really looking forward to lead many research projects from different parts of the world as well.
Have you
Yeah.
thought about any idea to conserve the insect by your personal effort?
Yeah, it's very important in this present scenario to conserve the insects because, you know, since many times or many years back, people in the sense of growing agriculture, in the sense of growing their food production, people have been using these chemicals, these pesticides, highly hazardous chemical without thinking, without thinking their, hazardous effect very haphazardly. And because of that, insects, both the pest and as well as these natural enemies, they have been, killed off because of these harmful pesticide spread. And that is why not only the beneficial and not only the pest, but many of the insects have been in the world of extinction as well. So we have to make, we have to make these certain rules from our on perspectives. Like, I'm in the university and someone may be in the government, someone may be in the research organization. Everyone should work with in hand to hand with the view of making less spray of pesticides, or even banning the pesticides that are highly hazardous. That has been doing in many parts of the world, even in the country Nepal as well, for banning highly hazardous pesticides. But people like farmers and many agriculture organization worker has been silently, they have been using these hazardous pesticides. And in order to make that very very less to spray these pesticides, regular inspection from government side, from university side, from every concerned authorities should be regular. So I would, from my individual perspective, whenever and wherever I would go to, talk about agriculture, or not only in the scientific community, whenever I would go to talk about agriculture, especially in case of farmer or agriculture worker, then I would first start with use of very less spraying or use of very less hazardous pesticides, or even stopping the use of pesticides and more focusing on use of non-pesticidal or non-chemical ways to manage these pests in the field. So that is how I have been doing, and I would do in the future as well. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great thought, Steve. Like, really loved it and really appreciate it. Steve, what suggestion you want to give to those people who wants to make their career as an entomologist?
Like to give some suggestion to younger ones who are interested in career in entomology, that their first thing that they need is fulfilled. Like, when they have interest means they can move further. If they have interest means they can move further, they have already ticked the first line to their career. So that means they have interest means they will work further in the entomology. And with the view of working in career in entomology, they should not have the thinking of that insects are a notorious species, or they are a kind of like yuck things. And they should be more focused on creating beneficial to mankind through study in entomology subject. So I would say that there are many fields in entomology as well, like working in industry, working in agriculture, academic field. And so the as the fields are broadened in entomology, you can choose any kind of field in entomology. The first thing is that you should have this, sense of your love or affection to your work. And so follow your affection and follow your interest, then you will really do good and grow in this field of entomology. Yeah, that is how I would suggest.
What sort of career are there in entomologists? Like, if people want to forward their career in entomology?
Yeah, In whole, if we talk about the globalization, there are many aspects of entomology. Like you can work in industry where you can produce different kinds of things from insects. Like even if you for talking about certain insects, like you have honeybees, and you have lac insects, you have silkworms, you have different kinds of byproducts produced from these insects. You have different kinds of chemical constituents from produced from these insects byproducts. Even their faces are useful, their excreta are useful, their body parts are useful, so that can be used in production of different types of chemicals. Like waxes are produced from honeybee, and different types of chemicals. Like other to talk about is royal jelly that are used in as a source of protein, and in also different kinds of cosmetic products. It can be used in as industrial products. We can say that that's part of industry is useful. And talking about academic field, you can be the academician if you want to be. And talking about research, there are varieties kind of research that can be happened in entomology. And pest management field also, like, is a like kind of day to day, and many places, many locations problem that you have to face lots of problem in agricultural field. So you can work in this pest management aspects as well. So there are many sectors that you can engrave in entomological field. So yeah, the thing that you need to have is just affection towards your work.
Wow, that's a greater scope. Like I'm really shocked about the insects facts. It was great talking with you, Steve. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Srishti. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Steve. Bye.
Bye.